So I was going to focus a little bit on capabilities within the Outlook calendar, utilizing it for organization and maximizing your efficiency in the day, but also then kind of segue into like how to use some of these tools to do group calendar meetings. And please, by all means, ask questions. I might just have 20 minutes worth of content. Share my screen. And we're going to dive right in like we did 2 weeks ago. If you're here 2 weeks ago, this is my personal inbox. So I did take all the lessons away from 2 weeks ago, and I am sitting at inbox 0.
Woo. Wow.
So do we see my inbox?
We do.
Awesome. Okay, great. Okay, so Outlook, Exchange Online, this is the stuff we have at Vanderbilt. Everyone has access to this, and if you don't, please let VOIT know, because you should have a license to it. You should be able to get to it. So the first thing we like in getting to inbox 0 and getting manage your email, I kind of showed this off 2 weeks ago. You can take emails and flag them for follow-up, right? You want to put some time around that email that needs a follow-up. So I'm going to use this My View that just came out today, and you can open it within the email, or just at the previous list. You go to follow-up and you can say, I want to follow up today on this email, and that adds it. The fun thing about that is it adds it to your tasks, which is a way to manage the work. And those tasks show up in the Outlook calendar. They show up down here within a task view in the bottom of the Outlook calendar. So that My View article is now a task scheduled for me today. There's a lot of tasks. Please don't judge. Where did it go? So it should be down here in this list. But you can take any one of this digital commons today. You can take something from this list and actually drag it up to your calendar. When you drop it, it automatically makes a 30-minute meeting for that task, or in this case, an email. And when you double click on that, you'll actually get an email, the content of the email. This is actually an older email. This is from last week. So great. So you can then treat that like any other calendar item and invite others to it. Do the calendar things to it. So let me demo another quick way to drag things to the calendar. And I should have just done this first, is if you click on that email and just use the drag and drop feature and drag it right to your calendar. That gives you a free form. Let's make this an appointment, and you determine when and where. So it's not specific to the day. I think it's your first available next 30-minute increment. So that's very handy for getting emails actionably directly to your calendar as quickly as possible. So I'm gonna come back to my absolute favorite tab in scheduling appointments, and that's the scheduling assistant. I will come back to that at the end.
So Damon, I have a question, because
please.
I tried following this advice 2 weeks ago. And if I go to today on my calendar and I look in the task view, I have, I don't know, 100 emails that I had flagged for some reason in the distant past. And they're all down there for today, because they're all overdue according to Outlook, because I flagged them in 2019 and I never checked off the flag. Do you know if there's a way to like check them all off?
Let me get back to you. There may not be a way to do it all, but at least a view where you can see all your flagged emails and check them off quickly. I can, yes. Let me look into that.
All right.
Great question.
I've been checking off 5 a day, and I'm not really making progress.
Very manual. Yes.
Right.
Okay. Good question. Good question. Because yeah, I initially started off flagging emails for a totally different purpose, and when I realized the task connectivity, yes,
I like that.
So
Damon?
as you could, yes.
I also have a question. This is Kennedy. If you drag an email to your calendar, and if you're a delegate for someone, is there a way to put that email as a task on someone else's calendar?
As a task, or as
an event on the calendar? Like, say I have a delegate and they want me to schedule a meeting from this email. Is there a way to do that through my calendar as a delegate?
I don't know.
Okay.
We can look into that. Absolutely. That's delegates. It gets real dicey with calendars and delegates. I'll be honest. We see some
Right.
very weird things. So
Yeah.
I don't have direct experience with it. But we could probably set up some scenarios and recreate that.
Okay.
And
Just
try
a
to.
question.
Yeah. No, I wish I had more direct experience with delegates. We just see the worst problems. Categorization of emails, Corbett spoke to it. Absolutely do the same thing. I color code and categorize my meetings because I'm constantly context switching. Meeting to meeting, one moment you're talking to a student, the next meeting it's a class, or it's talking to peers. So I definitely use the category system quite a bit, and the categories are available. Where did it? There. Okay, I don't know why I don't see my categories. I just saw them. I promised in the lead up to this, I saw the categories. So you can also categorize things here. And this is basically, Outlook gives you colors as categories, and you can name them whatever you want, and you can apply those categories to your meetings. It is simple as clicking on them there. That's why, because you have to click on a meeting. And once you've clicked on a meeting, it changes your context of your toolbar at the top, and you get your categories. So you can select things to categories. There may be capabilities where you can get views based on categories. I haven't gotten that advanced with it, but it definitely helps me when I'm just mapping out my day and imagining how much time I'm going to spend, in green and personal development versus red Teams meetings. So now there's calendars, and this is not quite delegates, but there's managing multiple calendars, or at least monitoring other calendars. For our team, we have a team calendar for the whole team that we kind of track our time off, so we can know who's available and who's not in real time. You can add someone's calendar. Let's say I spend a lot of time with Jeff Loudon. I think he's on the call. And you can add a calendar in here just by looking people up in the global address list. This is all of our peers at Vanderbilt. It'd be great if this worked for everyone everywhere. But I can look up Jeff Loudon in here, and I can add him, and now I see his calendar, and he's a very busy man. So if I wanted to just take a quick glance at where he and I are both available, I can merge the calendars, so we see both of our stuff at the same time. That can be helpful, but it's still a mess because we both have a lot of stuff to do. So you can remove him, you can delete extra calendars. There's a lot of calendars in there. Like I said, my team calendar, this is what I usually use. It's actually a SharePoint calendar, so you're not limited to just Outlook calendars and shared Exchange mailboxes or room calendars. You can actually use calendars right out of SharePoint because it's all Microsoft, so they work well together. And our collaboration team calendar, that's where we track people's PTO and such. So that's a useful use for calendars. And when you're in a multiple calendar view, it's kind of subtle, but tabbing between them shows you the active calendar you're in, clicking on these headers up here. So when you have a calendar up, if it's something you have access to, you can absolutely add an appointment directly to that calendar. So that could be helpful. So that is on the collaboration calendar, not on my personal calendar. So when I close it, that just proves it's on that calendar, not mine. So when you're setting up calendar appointments, and this goes for too, like if you're out of the office or something, your status during the meeting is super important for other people who are collaborating with you within Exchange, or Teams or Skype for Business or any of these Microsoft connected, or even within Zoom, if you have the Zoom plugin that can see your Outlook status. The status during the meeting is super important. As you can see, the choices are, I don't know how often we use working elsewhere, tentative. Tentative, you didn't really agree to that meeting, but you might make it. But busy, out of the office is extraordinary. If you genuinely are out of the office and you set yourself to out of the office, it actually flags you not just as offline, but out of the office in Teams and in Skype. Even if you happen to get on when you're on the road, people know, no, really, don't bother him. He's out of the office. He's just active right now. So that's a good way of presenting your presence to everyone. In addition to that, being busy does block your availability when people want to see your calendar from their views. And speaking of Zoom, I do want to make sure that everyone's aware that there is a Zoom plugin. Everyone's probably a good Zoom expert by now, but there's an excellent Zoom plugin that integrates with Outlook that lets you make Zoom meetings from your Outlook calendar view. To do that, if you haven't done it already, you want to start from going to the add-in store. This is the Office add-in store, and it has an icon that looks similar to that. And if you have this larger one, it says Get Add-ins. If you select that, it takes you to the Office add-in store, and you just have to search for Zoom. And there's the Zoom for Outlook plugin. Select it, and if I didn't have it added already, you'd have an install button here. Select the install button. It will ask you for permissions to connect to your Outlook mailbox to see your calendar and have that integration. And once it's installed, you get the wonderful capability of adding a meeting and making it a Zoom meeting. So that's the quick, easy way to make your Zoom meetings and make them on your calendar right away. Even I didn't know about this initially. I was making them in Zoom and then making manual calendar appointments and copying links in. This integration really helps save time. Some more cool things. So you're setting an appointment. You want to set an appointment in the first Tuesday of next month, but you don't know what that is, and you just can't be bothered to figure it out on the calendar. You can do first Tuesday of next month, and natural language will put that into a date for you. Or it doesn't really work if you try to do it more than once. It gets a little confused, but you can go 6 weeks from now, and it knows. So that's really handy if you want to just get to a quick date and you're working really fast. You're not looking at the calendar very closely. Also, another way to make the calendar work for you is, as you can see, you can drag this around and see more dates. Say you want to schedule in some Friday. I want to have a meeting with Derek. It's going to be on a Friday, but I'm not sure which Friday yet. So I can switch to day view and pick next Friday. And if you hold down Control and hit 3 Fridays, you get a combined view of your next 3 Fridays. Little tip, seems kind of odd, but you never know when that's really going to be powerfully helpful for you. Another quick one, and this one may be with the delegates. It might be part of the solution for delegates. It might not. If you have a particular meeting on your calendar, this is just a shell meeting. But if you have a particular meeting on your calendar, and maybe you're having a meeting with a bunch of folks and you're about to go over, but you have a hard stop, and you want to get everybody back together for the same meeting to continuation on it. If you just hold down Control and drag that meeting to a new time, it's a duplicate of the exact same meeting. Then you can open that meeting. Now this one, again, it's a shell, but you could open it. All the existing invites for that meeting will be in it, and you can just send an update to it and re-invite everyone to that new meeting. So that potentially fantastic time saver. Another huge benefit to me. Often you're dealing with, you have people in other time zones, far away, Hawaii, in Pacific Coast, or even UTC. Sometimes I'm mapping logs against UTC time codes. You can, in the Outlook calendar view, if you right-click on the times here and choose Change Time Zone, it brings up Outlook options for the time zones, and you can actually add a second and a third time zone to this display and give it a name. Now you see the Hawaii time zone. And I know my friend in Hawaii, I might as well wait till 1 p.m. to start scheduling meetings with him because that's when he starts his day. So, and then, okay, so my absolute favorite feature, I live by this feature, is I'm setting up a meeting and I know Jeff Loudon is a very busy man. This is our impossible meeting. And I'm gonna schedule it with two of the busiest people I know, Derek and Jeff. And I know it's unlikely I'm gonna get to talk with them at 10 a.m. earlier today. So I come to scheduling assistant and I see the combined view of Derek's free busy and Jeff's free busy. And the aggregate view, including my own, is up here at the top. So I know actually they're free today. That's unexpected. And then nobody's free during the weekend. And 4:30, that's what I expected. 4:30 on Monday be the earliest time. So that's tremendously powerful. And now that we're getting back on campus, you want to add a room to this meeting. Maybe we want to go to a meeting room. Now, again, apologies. I work over in the Hill building, so I'm used to the Hill rooms. So I would just search for Hill, bring up, these are all the meeting rooms in Hill, and I can actually select them all. And then if I add them all to the meeting, I can see which rooms are available in this same combined room. Well, they're all available, so I just have to pick one. So I uncheck the ones I don't want, and I would send this meeting invite. And in these cases, these rooms have calendars behind them. It would book that space in the calendar for us and send meeting invites to Derek and Jeff and I. So
And that's going to work for rooms that have been set up as calendars, right, at Vanderbilt. So
yep.
Some will, some won't.
Correct. Let's see. Those are the high points. Now I do use a very calendary-like solution called Find Time, which is fantastic for when the real struggle is finding time with people who aren't at Vanderbilt, who you can't see their calendar, so you don't get that good visibility. So a Find Time solution, Calendly, is excellent for this. Microsoft even has a preview version where Cortana acts as your digital assistant and starts looking for the best time and reaching out dynamically to people to find a good time. It's a little sketchy, but it works. I set up reoccurring meetings using it with my team here. I've got one-on-ones with my team members, and it literally, it's a reoccurring appointment that's dynamic. I say, I want a one-on-one every week with John, but it's not always at 8:30 because John might be busy from 8 to 9 next week, or I might be busy. So it'll just pick a time and it picks them 7 days out. So it's kind of a rolling reoccurring meeting, which is clever and very helpful if you have packed schedules or schedules that ebb and flow. So yeah, I'm open to questions now. I think that was about 20, was that 20 minutes?
Yeah, you're good.
25.
Yeah.
All right.